Hi, my name is Ben Woodard, product designer here at Keencut, and today we are going to do a short live session on how to clean and maintain your SteelTrack. As you know, it's very important to keep any machinery clean and maintained. So today, hopefully, this session should help you do so. So the first things that you're going to need: a sponge with a coarse surface, some Vaseline or petroleum jelly, something similar, and a pair of scissors. So the first thing that we're actually going to be doing here is we're going to be lubricating and cleaning the SteelTrack, where essentially to help the bearings run up and down. So you take your scissors and you essentially cut off a little bit of the sponge. Something about this big is all you should need. You take your petroleum jelly. Now, it's really important to mention here that you don't need a lot. All you need is, a small amount. Essentially, something about, the size of a pea on your finger, and you put that onto your sponge. When you have the Vaseline on your sponge, what you're going to want to do is over the entire length of this steel rod that you see here, you're going to be wanting to gently rub all the way up, all the way up to the top, and all the way down to the bottom. See, when you get to about here, you move the head and you go all the way down. Now, see, I've essentially got a little bit of excess here on the machine. What I like to do is actually use the rear end of the sponge to wipe off that excess, just so that it's not there. Now, once you've done the front, there's another rod at the back here that you're wanting to do. You essentially just do the exact same thing. You go all the way to the top and all the way back down. Now what you will see, so it's not to be alarmed about, but what you will see is a little bit of black that comes off onto the scouring side of the sponge. That's completely normal. It's essentially just a bit of dirt, grease. So the next thing that we're going to talk about is actually just general cleaning. So this is sort of, the places that you should look for little bits of offcuts and snippets. Most of the time it's not going to cause any damage to your machine, but it's mainly a way of, keeping everything clean and clear, actually, making sure that when you're coming to cut a piece of material that it's not going to be lying on an offcut, which could therefore, make it slightly out of square. So the first place we're going to look is down here. As you can see just here, we've got some shavings of some material that we've cut over the past couple of weeks. And actually down here as well, we've got some more shavings. Now, the best way to get rid of this is either using, a piece of kitchen towel, just to get rid of some of the crumbs, or if you want to use a hoover, we'd recommend using the little brush extension that you can get on the hoover heads, just because it's less harsh on the machine itself. It basically means that, when you're going over with your hoover, if you use, a steel end to, hoover up any of the mess, that could potentially scratch some of the artwork or even some of the numbering. You don't really want to do that. It's not going to damage the machine, but we just recommend that you use the brushed end. The other place that you're going to want to be looking is also down here, right at the very bottom. So again, some kind of paper towel to actually, remove all of the dust and bits and bobs, and that should be fine. If you've had your machine for quite a while, and completely depending on the environment that you're in, that your machine is in, you might find that there's actually a bit of a buildup of dust, especially on some of these areas here, where it's a perfect place for dust to settle. If you are wanting to give your machine a full clean, we would recommend that you use water and a little bit of dish soap, but nothing else. We really highly recommend that you don't use any harsh chemicals for cleaning. And we also recommend that you don't use an excess amount of water when doing so. So we're talking, essentially get your dish soap, some warm water, and you put in a cloth or a sponge and you really squeeze it out so that the cloth is just damp and not foamy. You don't want, you don't want to be rubbing and all of the foam to be going all over the machine. So you'd give it a wipe down. Any excess water, we would recommend that you wipe away with a dry towel afterwards. And essentially, your machine will be clean, clear, and ready to go. But that is it. There really isn't much more to it, and that is how you keep your SteelTrack clean and maintained.